Lenny used to do a lot of work for me on the debts, when we had to collect debts, I used to use him. Him knocking on your door, you know, I mean, the sun, you know, he opens right, the sun blocks out, you know. Roy, if Roy walked into a room, you can see the menace, you know, if you got close to him, you can see, you know what I mean, you know.
You know, during the first fight, I know Frank Warren's a cousin of Lenny Mclean. Was he involved in putting on the fights at all?
Frank was, it was Bobby Warren. Lenny was with Bobby, and Bobby was, you know, after the, I think it was it a Stander fight? I think it was, or the Stander fight, or another fight, where Roy and Lenny come down, you know, in them days, because remember when they fought Donny the Bull, there was a lot of press coverage. And I say this in the book, and really, it was the press who created everything. You know, it's the perfect storm. It was what they said, you know, they said, oh, this fighting is unlicensed. This was the British Boxing Board of Control. It's run by villains and gangsters in the underworld. Where the press, the heroes have gone like, what the bloody illicit fighting, gangsters, friends of the craze. It was beautiful headlines. And the press and the boxing board wouldn't let it go. Every chance they had, this is illegal. This fighting's illegal, this shouldn't happen. So they created it, and the press loved it. It was romantic. All of a sudden you got this pretty boy Shaw, this Donny the Bull, you know, and at a time when you had Danny McAlinden and Richard Dunn, British champion. Yeah. You know, good fighters, but, you know, would I pay money to go and watch them fight? No, I wouldn't, do you know what I mean? So all of a sudden you had this alternative, this romantic underground bloody fight scene building up. And you know, and then it just went from there, really. It went from there, and then posters all around the East End in all the pubs. And Lenny's looked at a poster one day, looked at him, and went, oh, I'll have a go at that. Do you know what I mean? He had a reputation in his manner, and he got in the ring and challenged. And that was it. The old man, you know, no one knew Lenny really when he first challenged, and the old man weren't that bothered about putting him on. He just went, well, get in line. He said, I've got a line from here to fucking Scotland. We want to fight, boy, you know what I mean? How much money can you put on the table? What can you do? How many tickets can you sell? And it went from there, and then Frank ended up being in his corner, training with him. And then when he got beat, when Roy got beat and Lenny won the second fight, now all of a sudden, Lenny is the Guvnor. So now, Frank and all that went, well, hold up, we're holding all the cards here now. So we're promoting. We'll put a show on.
Yeah, so he had a business streak even at early age, Frank did.
Yeah, no, he was clever. He was a very clever man. And I still, you know, I still work with Frank now. Yeah. And on the pro side of things. But, you know, he twigged on, and that was it. And, you know, I think he had a few fights with Lenny. Then when Lenny and Roy in the third fight, and then after that Lenny got beat, and so you know, I think Frank lost the flavour then really, and he had the eyes for turning pro, and the board, you know, wanted him to turn pro because he was getting TV,
yeah, of course,
and stuff like that, and so, you know, he made the right move. Yeah, and he's now the most successful British promoter of all time, has to be.
Hall of Fame promoter, hasn't he? He's been around 30, 40 years doing it, hasn't he? Put on the bigger shows. Yeah. But I see Frank doing an interview recently, and he talks about Lenny being a little bit of a bully.
Lenny was a big bloke. You know, when he was that size when we were kids. Yeah. When people were kids, he was a terrible bully. He was a bully. Well, he weren't the nicest guy in the world. He was funny. He had a good sense of humour. He was a terrible bully.
And obviously Frank was his cousin. And obviously, don't like to talk ill of the dead. Did you ever hear any stories? What was your dad's reputation? Did Dad become friendly with Lenny, or?
Yeah, very good friends with him.
Yeah.
Very, very good friends with Lenny. Same as me.
And what's your opinion? Was he a gentleman?
I like Lenny.
Gentleman.
I really like Lenny. I've done a lot of work with Lenny. You know, I never see, you know, he never bullied me or tried to bully me, or I never see him do it in front of me. You know, when he had his pub, the Governor's pub, we went over there, we was working that with him. You know, and Lenny used to do a lot of work for me on the debts. When we had to collect debts, I used to use him.
Are you gonna fucking fight? No, are you gonna fucking fight?
You know, him knocking on your door, you know, I mean, the sun, you know, he opens right, the sun blocks out, you know. So, you know, I like Lenny, and, you know, and he went to visit my dad. My dad was on category 8 at Belmarsh, and when you're a Cat A prisoner, anyone wants to go and visit someone, they've got to go, the old bill's got to come around your house, they've got to look, they've got to check it all out, and everything. It's a proper rigmarole, you know, to go. And he went through all that to go and see me dad. And then one day, you know, one Sunday it was, he sent a few quid over to me mum, because the old man was in the nick. It's like the thing, you know, in the old days you'd do, you know what I mean, your friend. And he sent some money over to me mum a couple of times, you know, to help her out. I respected him for that.
Of course,
you know what I mean?
It goes without saying.
Yeah.
But talk to me about the size difference as well. When I'm looking at the fights between Roy and Lenny, there must have been, obviously I know Roy was muscly as they come, but there must have been a 2 stone or a couple of stone weight disadvantage, wasn't there?
Yeah, and you know, and then when Lenny went, you know, when he went about another 4 stone heavier, didn't he? When
Close to 20 stone or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he was that when he boxed Roy. I think he was about 16, 17 stone. But he was, you know, Roy. If Roy walked into a room, you can see the menace. You know, if you got close to him, you can see. You know what I mean? You know. But Lenny walked into a room, he was like, oh, I can't know the size of him coming in, do you know what I mean? And, you know, he did dominate places. And, you know, I remember a funny story with we'd come out of Alex Steen's office, and we were at Trafalgar Square, and we were walking up the road, we wanted to go the other way, and you've got like 4 lanes of traffic into it, Trafalgar Square, do you know what I mean? Buses and everything, and I'm walking up to push the button. Lenny's just gone, just jumped out, walked out like that, put his hand up. All the traffic stopped, you know what I mean? He went, come on, Joe, wait there to all the cars, you know. And everyone's just sitting in their cars like, well, I ain't getting out telling him to piss off, you know what I mean? You know. So he was a size. He was a big man, Lenny. He was.
And so when your dad was putting on all these sort of fights, did you decide at that age that this is something you wanted to get into, maybe putting on the fights and all this sort of stuff then? And was your dad letting you help out or get involved at all?
No.
Or were you so young at these points that you just...
Yeah, not really. I was more boxing.
Yeah, boxing yourself.
So, and it was, you know, it was like what I said before, when I got to about 20, late 20s, and I said, I'm not going to turn pro. And we was in the Red Lion pub, me and my dad, Uncle Dan and Uncle Ted, and having a drink, and I was talking about it, you know, and I was saying, you know, I'm training every day, Dad, but you know, I don't think I can do it. He went, why don't you be a promoter? And, you know, and I was like, what? You know, and sitting there, and then all of a sudden, and that was it, you know, we got talking about it, and I phoned up Harry Holland, who I knew was working in the pros, and he gave me a number for the British Boxing Border Control, and first I thought to myself, hey, they're not going to give me a licence because of my dad. But I phoned them up and they said, yeah, okay. They'd given me name and address, and they said, we'll send you a letter. Yeah. And a few weeks later, I got a letter through with an interview. Went up there, and it was funny, walking there, they got a great big table, and about 10 of them all sitting around the table, and I walked in, and I'm already nervous anyway because of my dad. And I'm sat at the end of the table and they start asking me questions. I was useless, I never knew anything, you know what I mean? You know, they said to me, what type of medical procedures? I went, oh, St John's ambulance, you know, they went, what? You know, now you've got to have paramedics, doctors and everything else, but I didn't, no one ever told me. So I got slaughtered, and then, but fair play, Robert Smith, who was there, he's a good boxing man, Robert, he's a good boxing man. And Robert turned me and said, look, I'll tell you what we're going to do with you, Joe, we're going to give you this book. And it's like, they call it the Green Book, it was the rules and regulations. And he went, go away, read the book and come back in a month's time. And that was it. I went and took the book away, it was only about that thick, 100 pages or something. I sat there, read it again. And then went back, bang, I fired it, do you know what I mean? Like they'd just done it and they passed me straight away. Nice. And that was it.
So at that stage there, were you putting on the unlicensed stuff as well as doing the licensed stuff? And what did Robert Smith's opinion on the unlicensed, did that affect obviously your ability to keep your licence going in the legit rank?
I never put on unlicensed shows when I was doing pro shows. Yeah, I kept them separate. Of course. And I'd done things backwards. I actually started promoting professional before.
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, before I'd done the unlicensed, where a lot of promoters do the other way round, you know. You know, you got the MTK boys now, you know, a lot of them come from an unlicensed background.
Yeah, you were talking about Frank a minute ago.
Frank, but I'd done it the other way round. And I was promoting, and then I was I'm not sure. I think there's only a few months between me and Frank, who was the youngest ever promoter at that time to ever get a licence. And then I was, I'm pretty sure I was the youngest promoter ever to stage a world title when I put Mark Baker against Ali Forbes. And then we had a few shows, and then the politics were pissing me off with the board. There's some people at the board I really like. And then there were some other people at the board where I just felt they're giving more favouritism to the boys what got TV contracts than what they was giving to us. Do you know what I mean? We was I was feeling like when I rang them up and I said, I want to run a show at this venue. It's going to be. It felt like on the other end of the line they're like, all right then. Like they couldn't be bothered with unless you was a TV promoter. I might be wrong, but that was the vibe I was getting at that time. And then a pal of mine, Ricky English, was doing the unlicensed shows. There was only about 3 or 4 people doing unlicensed shows. And then he told me, he said, Joe, it's a laugh and all that. And I had Caesars, the venue, when I was running pro shows. So, now I come out, I give me pro licence up, went the unlicensed. And that's when we created Mean Machine Promotions and doing the shows at Caesars. It was.